Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 4 of AWS tutorials. In this video, we are going to cover AWS Lambda and its integration with SQS. In this video, we'll create an SQS queue, we'll send message to SQS manually, then we'll create a Lambda that will get triggered by SQS, and then we'll send a message to SQS using another Lambda. So this is going to be the flow. We'll be having a producer Lambda that will send a message to SQS, and then SQS will trigger a consumer Lambda that will process the request. Okay, so let's see what is SQS and how to implement this solution. Let's come to AWS console. Here, let's search for SQS, simple queue service. So what is SQS? AWS SQS is a queue service where we put work to be done later. It helps us separate request handling from heavy processing. So it's kind of a waiting line for tasks. Okay, let's create an SQS and then we'll see like how it works. For that, we'll click on this create queue. And here we have two types of queues. For now, we'll just go with this standard queue. Here we'll write our queue name. We're not going to change any configuration. We'll leave it as it is. And then we'll click on this create queue. Okay. So a queue has been created. Now it can store any number of messages. For now, what we'll do, we'll just send a message and read the message using SQS. Okay. So for that, if you see there is this button send and receive messages, we'll click on it. And here, if you see, we can put the message body here. I'll put a message. Hi, this is a testing queue. Okay. We'll leave all the things as it is and we'll click on the send message. Okay. So if you see, your message has been sent and it is ready to be received. Now, if you scroll down and if you see here receive messages, so one message is available that we can read. Okay, so for that, what we need to do, we need to poll for the messages. I'll click on this button. Okay, now we have this message. I'll just open it. And if you see, this is the same message that we sent recently. Hi, this is a testing queue. Okay, we'll just click on this done button and then we'll just select this message and delete this message because we have already read this. So this is how we can send a message to SQS and we can read it. So now how to trigger a consumer Lambda that can automatically read the message from SQS and process it. Okay. So for that, we'll search for Lambda and let's create a new Lambda for that. Okay. We'll select author from scratch only. Let's give the name as dev by Shashank SQS consumer Lambda. In the runtime, we're going to select Python 3.14 and we'll leave all the configuration as it is and we'll click on the create function. So the Lambda has been created successfully. Now let's write a code to read the message. Okay. So for that, first what we'll do, if you see there is this trigger option, add trigger option. Okay. So we'll click on this button and let's add SQS here. Okay. We'll search for SQS. And if you see there is this SQS that we want to attach with this Lambda and we'll click on this activate trigger button. Okay. For now, let's just put this batch size as 1. Batch size is like how many messages you can receive in one event. So for now, let's put only 1 here. Okay. For the simplicity and we'll leave the things as it is. So you just need to make sure this activate trigger button is enabled and here batch size is 1. We'll click on this add button. Okay, now if you see an error occurred when creating the trigger, the function execution role does not have permission to call receive message on SQS. Okay, now the thing is the role that has attached to this Lambda, it does not have permission to receive the messages from SQS. Okay, so for that we'll click on this role and as we have seen like in the previous video, This role is the IAM role. This provide permissions to Lambda so that it can access various services. So for now, as this is the default role, it has only basic permissions so that it can write the logs to CloudWatch. Okay, here if you see, it has basic permissions only. Okay, we'll click on this add permission and we'll select this create inline policy. Let's select a service. So we need to select SQS here. Okay, we'll select SQS. Now we have to search for the actions. So what we need, we want to read the messages. Okay, for that we need to select this receive message permission. Okay, and for the resource, let's put all for now and click on the next button. And this will be SQS read policy. We'll create a policy. Okay, so the policy has been created. Now let's try to add a trigger here in this Lambda. We'll search for SQS. SQS name is this one. Make sure this activate trigger button is enabled. Base size, let's put as 1 here and click on this add button. Now the thing is, as you have seen in SQS, first we read the message, then we deleted it, right? So the same thing Lambda does. First it reads the messages from SQS, then it deletes it automatically after processing it successfully. So it's that's why it's saying this function execution role does not have permission to call delete message action on SQS. So for that, let's add another permission. Let's create an inline policy. Search for SQS. Here we'll paste the name as it is, delete message. In the resources, let's put all and click on the next button. Here we'll write SQS delete message policy. We'll create it. Okay, now let's try to edit again. Sometimes it takes up to 1 minute to reflect the changes in IAM role. Okay, now if you see, there is one more error here. The function execution role does not have permission to call get queue attributes on SQS. Okay, because when Lambda tries to receive the messages, it needs this permission as well. Because first it will check whether is there any messages available in SQS or not. So it will read SQS queue attributes. We'll select this permission get queue attributes. Here in the resources we'll select all and let's click on this next button. Let's create it. Now let's try to edit again. Okay, so now the trigger has been added successfully. If you see, SQS is visible here, and if we click on it, here if you see in the configuration in the left side triggers, we can even click on this trigger button, and here we can see this trigger is being created. It will take a minute. Okay. Okay, now the state is enabled. Okay, and we need to make sure this activate trigger is yes. It should not be no. Otherwise, this Lambda will not going to be triggered. Now what we'll do, we'll just read the messages that we're going to receive from SQS. Okay, so for that, let's see what we are going to get in the event, because now SQS is going to trigger this Lambda and it will send all the message details and message in this event only. Okay, so let's try to print this event. Okay, how this event look like. Or let's write JSON dot dumps event. Now let's deploy this code. Okay, now what we'll do, we're going to send a JSON object from this SQS. Okay, now here we can write Okay, let's put a single JSON message here, message testing message, and let's send it. So the message has been sent. Now we'll see the Lambda logs. So for that, we'll go into this monitoring section. And here we'll click on this view CloudWatch logs. Okay, here if you see, this is the CloudWatch log group for this Lambda. Okay, here we have this log stream. We'll open it. Okay, let's see. Actually, I sent that message 2 times. I clicked on that send message button 2 times. That's why here we can see 2 records. Okay, so let's see this record here. So this is the format in which we are going to receive the message. Okay, here if you see inside this record, we have a list and a JSON object there. Okay, and here if you see, we have this message ID that is unique for every message. This is the receipt handle. I'll tell you what is this receipt handle later. Now this is body. So this is the actual message that we need. Okay, if you see, this is the same message that we have sent to SQS. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll try to read this body and we'll log it into the CloudWatch. Okay, for that we'll go into this code section. Here we'll write body equals to event, or let's write SQS message body records 0. Let's check it again. Inside 0, it's inside the body. Okay, we need to read the body. Now let's import it in JSON. Okay, now we'll print SQS message. Okay, let's deploy this code. Okay, now to test it, we're going to send another message from SQS. Here we'll write testing message 1 and we'll send. Okay, so the message has been sent and is ready to be received. Okay. Now let's go to this CloudWatch and okay, here we have this log stream. Let's open it. And if you see, it has logged the SQS message is testing message 1. Okay, so this is how we can trigger a Lambda via SQS. Okay, right now what we are doing, we are manually sending a message to SQS. But in the real world scenario, we need to have any other source that will going to send a message to SQS, and then that consumer Lambda will process it, right? So for that, let's create another Lambda that will send the message to this SQS. Okay, let's click on this create function. Here we'll write reducer Lambda Python 3.14, and we'll leave it as it is and we'll create the function. Okay, so the Lambda has been created successfully. Now we see in the code section, let's modify the code. Okay, so what we have to do here is we have to send a message to SQS. So for that we need Boto3, as I mentioned in the previous session as well. Okay, so let's go to Boto3 documentation. Okay, so here first we need to import Boto3 and then we need to create a client. Okay, let's do this. We'll import Boto3 and we'll create SQS client. We can remove this region because all our components are in the same region only. Okay. Now to send a message to SQS, we need a method. So if you see here we have two methods, send message and send message batch. Send message is to send single message to SQS, and send message batch is to send multiple messages at a single time. So let's select this send message, and here we need multiple arguments. Okay. So we just need the required arguments, rest. That's it. Okay. So here the required arguments are QURL, message body. That's it. We need a QURL and message body. Okay. So let's create a function def send message to SQS. Okay. So Amazon Q has automatically written that code for us. So here we need to just pass a message to this, and we have this SQS client send message. Now QURL. Okay. So what is QURL? So we need, for that we need to go into this SQS. Let's open the home page for that SQS, and if you see there is this URL. Okay. This is the QURL and we need to use it. Okay. Now here we need to put that message, and that's it. So that message body, if you see, this message body should be in a string. Okay. So for that, what we will do, we will do JSON dumps here. Okay. And it will going to print the response here. Okay. So what we are going to do, we will get the message from event. Okay. And then we'll send that event as it is to that SQS. Okay. And let's change the body. Here we'll write message has been sent for processing, because we are not going to process that message here. What we are doing, we are just queuing that message in a queue, and later that consumer lambda is going to process that message. Okay. So this is called async processing. Let's deploy this code. There is one thing, we are using send message function to send a message to SQS, but our lambda role does not have access to perform this operation. So let's change the IAM role. Okay, let's go to this configuration. Inside this permission, let's open this role. So here if you see, it just have basic permission to write the logs into the CloudWatch log group. Okay, let's add a permission here. Let's create an inline policy. So in the service, we need to search for SQS. So now in the actions, we need to search for send message. Okay, in the resources, we'll select all and we'll click on this next button. Okay, let's provide the policy name SQS send message policy. Let's create it. Okay, now we'll go to this source lambda, this producer lambda. Okay, now our code is ready, and here let's create a new test event. We'll give it this test here. Okay, so here we have this test event. Let's modify it. Here I'll write user Shashank. Task is to process a file. Let's say file name. Okay, we are not going to process the file, but let's just put this thing. Okay, so let's save it and invoke it. Okay, so here if you see, it got executed successfully. This is the response, message has been sent for processing. Okay, and if here, okay, if you see, this is the response that we have received. Okay, it just tells you the message ID. If message ID is present there, that means the message has been sent to SQS. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll go into the CloudWatch logs of consumer Lambda, because the processing has been completed. It takes only few seconds to perform the operations. Okay, so if we just see the logs of the consumer Lambda, here if you see, we have received that event and we have received that SQS message. User Shashank, task process file and file name, we have received that file name. Okay, so this is how we can use SQS. Now, if you see, there are multiple things as well, like there are so many things in SQS as well that we're going to cover in the next part of SQS. So guys, as I've told you, like we have created this producer Lambda that from where we are sending a message to SQS, and SQS is automatically triggering a consumer Lambda, and that consumer Lambda is processing that message. Thank you guys for watching this video. In the next video, we are going to cover AWS DynamoDB basics. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you can receive the latest notifications. And if you have any doubts, just drop it in the comment box.